Are you good with the layout, the concept of what we're doing? Or
Yeah, I think so.
all right, all right,
And
cool. So it's basically the welcome, promote social media, which is honestly just Facebook at this point. I tried going back to check everything.
Mhm.
All of my episodes were removed from every streaming platform.
Oh, geez.
My link tree was gone. Like literally, like everything I had set up except for the Facebook. The Facebook was the only thing that was still like active.
Huh.
And I was like, all right, well, I guess I have to start from the beginning again.
Huh.
So, which was I was really happy that I had kept all my past episodes
Yeah,
on a
yeah.
flash drive. So I was able to re-upload everything. Everything's just on Spotify right now.
That's
I'm
great.
gonna try and get it over on Apple Music and everything else later, but for right now, this is fine. And welcome back to First, Last, and Best. It's been a 3-year hiatus. I'm sorry. Um, so the show has gone through a little bit of a makeover. Obviously, we have some new art on the Facebook and socials. Um, but most of all, we've gone through a bit of a format change. As you can most likely tell, Joey and Jamie are not here. Um, those guys are just very, very busy, and we ended up, it just got to a point where it doesn't really matter. I decided to take the show in a slightly different direction, and that is in a direction to have different guests, different friends, people that I may not know at all. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Just come on and tell me what band they want to talk about versus us spinning a wheel, and that's how we figure out the next band we talk about. Instead of having consistent guest hosts, one-offs or people who want to come on every now and then and just talk about different bands they want to talk about. And I felt like this first episode back is honestly, well, let's get into our special guest for today's episode, and then we'll talk about the band that we're going to be talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, he's the bassist for Sam's the Hero. He is a very good friend. He is an amazing dad. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jeff. What's going on, Jeff? You been good?
Yeah, yeah. Been good, man. I'm looking forward to this. Thanks for having me on.
All right. And the first question, we are keeping this in the show. I gotta ask you, dude, what are you listening to lately? What's been on your, what have you been listening? What have you been spinning? Because I have a record player and that's basically what I listen to now.
Yeah, I've been seeing you post some of your finds lately. I've been jealous. You've been picking up some good stuff, man.
Dude, there's a couple really good record stores around this area that I am in love with. Vinny's Vinyl over in Newport News. Shout out to those guys. Vinny is an amazing dude, and he's got a really cool cat that lives there. But that's been my go-to place lately. So, but yeah, dude,
Cool, man.
it's
That's awesome. Yeah, for me, like if you were to go to my Apple Music right now in my history, you'd see mostly stuff that my kids have asked me to play.
that sounds
But
about
if
right.
you get, yeah, if you get past their stuff, I think the last thing I've been listening to when they weren't in the car and I could actually pick what I want to listen to, I've been getting back into Streetlight Manifesto. I
So good.
don't, yeah, I don't. Something I thought of or something had occurred to me and just put they jumped into my head and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I got to get back. And so, yeah, I've listened to yeah, I think almost their whole discography in the in the past week.
nice.
So yeah, that's been my go-to recently.
I think with Supernova announcing like Mustard Plug and Listen Jake and those bands, like I've been slowly like the start of the year, I've like ska almost exclusively, but now with more bands being announced by Supernova, I've been steadily going back into it. But then with this show, with this show coming back, it has given me an opportunity to go back and listen to other bands, and
Hmm.
especially our band for this week. So, Jeff was my sounding board when I actually decided to get back in the podcasting and to get back specifically into this show. So when I told him the original idea and for the show, and then how I was changing it and how I'm changing it, like I said before, I'm having just random guests come on, and I want them to tell me what band they want to listen to. And he thought it was a really good idea. He thought it was really cool. And I was like, great. Guess what? You're doing an episode. What band do you want to talk about? And how I knew this was the right first episode to come back to was because of the band he chose. And that is because I about 3, 4 months ago, I was considering bringing this show back, and I had talked to Jamie and Joey, and the Wonder Years was the band we were going to focus on, and then it just never materialized. So now here we are with the Wonder Years from Philly. Such an amazing band, so
Yeah.
so 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 good. Uh, how did you get introduced to them? When did you start listening to them?
Yeah, so though the when is a little bit easier. I caught on to them somewhere between the Suburbia album and Greatest Generation, somewhere in that cycle. It was
Yeah,
before Greatest Generation had come out, so I wasn't the earliest adopter. And I think I was put onto them just by like friends that I hung out with or that I followed on social media, that I really like valued their musical opinions. Like we tend to like the same things.
yeah,
Everybody was posting about the Wonder Years, and I was like, all right, I guess I got to check them out. Like everybody that likes the stuff I like loves them, so let me check them out. And so. Yeah, I just put them on, and like I said, Greatest Generation hadn't come out yet at that point, so I had basically just a few albums to listen to, and if I'm being honest, I thought they were good, but like I didn't fall in love with them at that point. Like it was like, okay, this is
yeah,
they're fun, songwriting's good, these melodies are incredibly catchy, the songwriting is great. But I was just like, yeah, they're a good pop punk band. And that was kind of where they sat in like until Greatest Generation came out, which we'll talk about throughout
yes.
the podcast. But
Oh,
so
I'm
yeah,
sure.
that's I jumped in right there, like right after Suburbia, and that there's a couple years in between. Yeah, and that was my first introduction to them.
Nice. I remember it was, I think, around 2009. I was working at Busch Gardens, and I was, they have people go in really early in the morning and literally hose the ground.
Mm.
It's like you have a fire hose and you're just hosing the ground to clean it off. So at the time, my girlfriend, now my wife, let me borrow her MP3 player so I could just listen to music and not just because it's so monotonous that you need
Hmm.
to listen to something or you're going to go nuts. And I just remember like flipping through and finding the Wonder Years, listening to the upsides.
Mm.
And I was like, pop punk, I'm out. I'm all about it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. And then it's like I kind of stopped and moved on to the next band. And it wasn't until probably Suburbia came out that I was like, okay, okay. But it was the Greatest Generation that I'm just like, when that came out, I started listening to it. And I'm just like,
Mm.
okay, this is just might be the perfect album.
Mm.
But let's not go too hard into that because I'm sure we will be talking about it soon. So let's start with the first. And I must apologize because as far as I was aware, I thought the first album was The Upsides.
Hmm.
Jeff has told me I am wrong. Jeff, why am I wrong? What there's another album that I don't know about apparently.
Yeah, so their first album, and don't feel any kind of way about not knowing about it, because if the band had its way, nobody would know about it. Like they have disowned it. Like Soupy's been very vocal about how he hates that record and thinks it was a mess. Yes, they put out a record called Get Stoked on it, and it was this kind of synth leady easy core. Like you definitely at this point should go back and listen to it. You
I need to
can
find it now.
definitely, yeah, it's not on streaming platform. And so I mean you can find it for sure. If you have any trouble finding it, let me know. I'll send you digitals. Um,
Nice.
but but yeah, like when you listen to it, and I again, if you're a Wonder Years fan that hasn't heard it, I do recommend going back and listening to it because you can hear the building blocks of what became the Wonder Years. Like there's
Yeah,
definitely you can hear what would become their sound. Um but yeah, it's just it's really it's kind of weird. Like I said, there was like a almost a early 4 year strongish synth lead that went or like Army of Freshmen kind of like synth lead in
that's
almost
weird.
every song. And they had, you know, breakdowns and even like some like some rapping like not like new metal style rapping or like hardcore
Yeah,
like it's and like the song themes are not what you'd expect either. It was very much like dude bro like almost fratty sounding like it's so funny like you again musically you can hear what the Wonder Years became, but when you go back and listen to it like it's just it's bizarro like alternate
yeah.
universe you know what the Wonder Years could have been. And so it's enjoyable. There's some songs on there that are fun, but I definitely understand them kind of wanting to compartmentalize that and like separate that from the rest of the band's legacy.
Pretend it
um
never happened.
yeah, I mean, like as you know, my band, our first record that we put out, which we put out under a different name, it was a mess. Like I mean, we recorded it in a closet, so sonically, you know, it wasn't great, but also there's different we weren't sure like who we were as a band yet, right? So there's some
Yeah,
songs on that album that were pop punky, there's some that were emo, there were some that were like alt and hard rock, and there's like 4 or 5 different genres on that one record. And so after that we kind of refined our sound, and so yeah, we didn't really, you know, promote that album super much, which is why like our recent project, like we went back and re-recorded some of those songs
yeah.
to bring them, you know, bring them both sonically and otherwise back into our kind of modern catalog. Was trying to salvage what became the band. So I totally understand why they would want to disown this album, but it is still fun and as like just a fun little, you know, experiment into what the band could have been. I do
Yeah.
encourage going back and listening to it. It's fun.
By the way, Caitlin has that album.
The our first album.
Yeah.
Does she want like 700 more? Because I think I have that many in my attic right now in boxes.
I'll have to ask her.
We were
So,
overzealous with ordering those.
yeah, see what I did when I was playing is we never got it well, we obviously got into the studio and professionally did it, but we just burned the CDs ourselves.
Hmm.
Because at that point we were giving them away because we're just like no one's paying us for this crap. So I have t-shirts
Hmm.
just like in my shed from old bands that I'm just like, I don't know why I still have these. I don't know why I paid money to print these. All right,
Hmm.
anyways, that's a story for another time. So let's talk about the upsides because that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
at least my introduction into them. And this seemed like kind of the prototypical mid to late 2000s pop punk album. Like it's good. It definitely snagged me and made me want to listen to them. But at the same time, it felt like it could have been easily lost in the shuffle of,
Yeah,
All Time Low and everyone else that was around that time, you know?
yeah, for sure. It's similar to what I was just talking about with Get Stoked on It. There's
Yeah.
definitely the prototype of what would the Wonder Years would become. But it was raw and it's
Oh
great
yeah.
and it's good. And there is still some of that trademark, you know, vulnerability and authenticity that I think draws a lot of people to the Wonder Years and to Dan Campbell's songwriting.
Oh yeah.
Um, you know, he'll say like, um, you know, he'll have just like one line that's simple and like by itself shouldn't actually like signify anything, but like you just connect with it emotionally. Like I'm trying to think of a
Yeah.
good example, like Logan Circle or something. Like they turn on the fountain today, and it's like I don't live in
Yeah.
Philly, right? You know what I mean? But it's like you say that, and I'm like, oh no, I know exactly what you mean. Like I know I get what you're feeling, and I can connect with that. So yeah, it was not a standout. Um, you know, this band set itself apart from everybody else, but there was still there's a lot of gold in that album for sure.
I mean, the album from front, like I can easily put it on and just let it play. Uh, on like Melrose Diner, what that was probably the first single I think they put out with that
Mm.
album, if I remember right. Um, Washington Square Park is another great song. Like the entire album's really good front to back,
Hmm.
but it can be at times somewhat forgettable, especially as the Wonder Years grew. Um, because we saw them back in October, I think it was. It was
Yeah.
them and the Menzingers,
Hmm.
and not a single song on their set list was from this album. Like, I mean, it was their albums were pretty well represented. I mean, if I remember right, I mean, The Greatest Generation, obviously, The Hum Goes On Forever, uh, even Sister Cities gets a
Yeah.
little shout out with Raining in Kyoto, but
Hmm.
I mean, there was nothing from the upsides. I don't know if it's just like the album they just kind of want to be like, all right, well, this is who we were. It's not who we are. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, and I mean that just comes with being a band as long as they have and putting out so much good. Like,
that's true.
we'll qualify like which albums are like, and even saying, stuff like the upsides, like for me there is no bad Wonder Years album, right? So like the worst
Oh
Wonder
no,
Years
no, no, no.
album is still going to be like far and away better than, than most other bands out there. But yeah, when
Yeah,
you've been, put out as much material as they have and for as long as they have, yeah, you're gonna have to make some cuts. And so I think there are a lot of good songs on this album. I definitely understand though, like it not beating out, some of the later stuff as they matured and as
yeah.
they developed their sound. Yeah, I definitely get it.
I do like Dan though. He is pretty damn amazing.
Oh yeah.
Because when we saw them in October, that was the first time I've ever seen One of Years live.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the first time I saw Dan Campbell.
Okay.
I went and saw MXPX back in February last year,
Uh-huh.
and uh, on MXPX new album, which that's another band that I need to do on this show
Uh-huh.
because their latest album, I definitely feels like I grew up with them. It
Yeah.
feels like because like in high school and almost middle schoolish, I was listening to them, and now that we're all like now in our 40s,
Mm-hmm.
hearing them play again, and just the content of their music is so
Yeah.
uh, more relatable to me now. But during Up All Night, uh, throughout their entire tour, whatever city they were in, they would bring different people on. They're basically
Mm-hmm.
their friends. It'd be like, all right, here's like I forgot all the people that they've brought out, but they brought out Dan Campbell from the Wonder Years
That's
to
great.
do like the final like bridge and chorus
Mm-hmm.
for the song. And I was just like, I was just watching. I was like, oh my God, that's right. This is the dude from the Wonder Years. This is amazing. He
Yeah.
just has such a commanding stage presence.
Yeah. I mean, he's got everything you would want in like a frontman songwriter. Like his
Oh
vocals
yeah,
are incredible. His writing is incredible. His energy and charisma and like commanding a crowd and stage presence is fantastic. Like, yeah, the
absolutely.
guy's got he's got no weaknesses. Um,
They, but yeah, there's a lot or towards the end, hey thanks, where it's like it just like that kind of small note of here's something a little bit different
hmm.
that could almost foreshadows what they are going to do for later albums. Because one of the things I love that they do is that nothing is completely the same.
Mm,
They're always innovating, always doing something a little bit tweaking, changing, but still somehow their sound.
hmm.
So, but like, hey, thanks was just kind of like it's all like pop punky, yeah, 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 and then all of a sudden, it's hey, thanks, which is almost like I don't know if they used a ukulele or
Yeah, it
if
sounds like a ukulele, and then they got like some horns coming in later and just different
yeah.
instrumentation. Yeah.
And then it's just like okay, here's a little different. I like that.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Have you
so
listened to the deluxe that had like the four extra, so
yes,
they put it out, put out a deluxe edition, and that one probably has my favorite song on Upsides is actually is the Logan Circle like New Hope recording, like where
oh
they
yeah,
put it all synthy and change some of the lyrics and stuff. Like I think that's
yeah.
probably My favorite song on that album is that B-side. Yeah,
Nice.
just some of the tweaks and changes and reimagine it with, slowing it down and the different instrumentation is just really creative. And yeah, again, just showed even on that early album their range.
Oh yeah. All right. So I feel like we have to fast forward now to their latest release, which we're kind of glad because this came out in 2022. They have a new album coming out soon, but that seems to be a lot more acousticy
Hmm.
and older songs, maybe one or two new ones. But I feel like we have to talk about this because The Hum Goes On Forever
Yes.
has they do something. It didn't start with this album. I feel like it started maybe with The Greatest Generation. I didn't really recognize it in Suburbia, but they build the album. It's
Hmm.
not necessarily a concept album, but they build the album. They build the songs one after the other. And then it seems like they're building it all towards a grand finale. It seems like each album they've put out since The Greatest Generation, they build the album, but then the last song, they take themes from the entire album and
Hmm.
build this almost masterpiece of a final song, which
Yes.
for The Hum Goes On Forever, it's You're the Reason I Don't Want the World to End.
Hmm.
And I just, you could tell it's not even the same. It feels like it's not even the same band anymore from going
No.
from like the Upsides to The Hum Goes On Forever.
Oh yeah.
It's like there's just been a complete transformation in how they approach writing music and how they approach like how Dan produces lyrically, and it's just it's a complete I don't have words right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an amazing album. Uh, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because I know we haven't talked best album yet. That's still coming, right? But for me, this could be I would not fight anybody who said this is their best album. I think it's incredible. Um, yeah, just it shows. So we mentioned I don't remember if it was in the pre recording or not, but we mentioned Sister Cities, came
Yeah,
up and so I think that like there was a trajectory that they were on, and I'm just speaking for myself, nobody else. Sister Cities, again, there's no bad Wonder Years album. It didn't hit for me in the same way that some of their other ones had. It's definitely at
agreed.
the bottom. It would be in my ranking of their albums. There's still some bangers on there, and when I put it on, like I'm still like, oh yeah, this is a good album. It's just not as good as some of my favorite Wonder Years albums. But I do think that there was at least in the spaces that I was reading and hearing comments, it wasn't as well received from the fandom.
Yeah.
And so when so my wife and I got to see them on their Suburbia anniversary tour,
Hmm.
and at that time they were like starting to to hype up that they were recording a new album while they were on that tour. They were telling people like, hey, we're recording this album, and they were like, if you like basically they were like, if you like the Greatest Generation, this is going to be your new favorite Wonder Years album. And I can definitely see that, because they did kind of, it's not like they made the Greatest Generation again, but you can definitely see like they brought it a little bit back closer instead of continuing a trajectory out. I think they kind of brought it back to that core sound that the fans love so much, but still showed like this is what the band we are today. If we were to have written that album, like it would sound different. And so like this is
Yeah.
um, and so yeah, I love this album so much, and we'll get into we've both kind of keep name dropping Greatest Generation, and we'll get into that. But
Yeah.
you mentioned growing, growing not just growing up like listening to MXPX, but like growing up with MXPX,
Yeah.
and for me that has been why the Wonder Years has meant as much to me as it has over the years. And we'll talk about when Greatest Generation came out, but I've got two young kids. My kids right now are 5 and 3. So when this came out, in 22, right? And so they would have
Yeah.
been, 3 and 1, um, or 2 and not yet a year, right? So like, uh, he's writing now from the perspective of of a dad, and like how do you deal with the anxiety that comes with
Yeah.
parenthood and with having these young helpless, completely helpless things that you're
Yeah.
responsible for, and that they can't survive on their own, and that they don't understand the world is a dangerous, hurtful place, and they have experienced nothing but like love and care, and it's like they're gonna get hurt one day, but not if I have anything to say about it. Like, I don't know, it's just like this, growing up with them, like their album, the when Greatest Generation hit, it had hit at a time in my life where what Dan was singing about on that album connected with me very personally. And
Yeah.
so you get the same thing with The Hum Goes On. Like he's wrestling with fatherhood, he's talking about his kids, and I'm like, hey, I'm in that
That
same
hits,
exact
man.
spot, so it hits at exactly the same time. And so even if it wasn't such a damn good album, like musically, there would be, just content wise, there would be that connection. And then you throw in just the band that they are, and just how, again, just how good they are. Like,
Yeah.
I would not fight anyone who wanted to claim this was their favorite, or this was the best Wonder Years album, because I could
Mm,
certainly make that case myself.
neither would I. Honestly, this was like I prepped for this pretty consistently over the last like forever. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and the Wonder Years is a band I always wanted to touch base on because this is the type of kind of evolution that it's so different that they grow. This band is literally growing before
Hmm.
your eyes and into
Yeah.
your ears from the upsides into the hum goes on forever.
Hmm.
And not just as a person, but so musically different. And it also kind of coincides with how my musical tastes have evolved over the years. I mean,
Hmm.
I still listen to freaking Rancid, which you can't go wrong with Rancid if you ask me,
Hmm.
but that's besides the point. But the Wonder Years, dude, there's just something about them. They hit different, and I
Hmm.
love that about them. And the hum goes on forever. That hits you in your feels, that hits you musically. I mean, dude, it's perfect from beginning to end. I love it.
I mean, just from the like the opening track, um it's in the same way, we're gonna get there, but in the same way, like there sets up Greatest Generation. Like
Yes.
the opening track for Hum, was it Doors I Thought I'd Painted Shut?
Doors I painted shut.
Yeah, Doors I Painted Shut. Like, it just sets the tone for the whole thing, and the way that it builds, and again the themes that it's dealing with. Like, when I first listened to it, as soon as he got like that line of, feeling a draft from under a door I thought I'd painted shut, and that imagery of like, hey, this stuff that I thought I had dealt with, and that I thought that I had like healed from, that I thought was put away, like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe it's not as put away as I thought, because I'm starting to feel it
Maybe not
coming
so
in from
much.
under the door. You know what I mean? Like, and
Oh
I'm
yeah.
like, God. Like his writing is incredible, and it sets up the whole album and the themes that he's gonna be wrestling with. It's an awesome post-COVID album. I think a lot of artists
Oh
have
yeah.
tried to wrestle with what the pandemic was like, and I think some do it better than others. I think this one is um, fantastic. Dan, sings about in, low tide of like, growing out his hair.
Oh yeah.
I had a pandemic beard that was, not good, but like, who cares, right? Like, I'm not seeing anybody. No one's seeing me. I don't gotta go
There you
anywhere. Like,
go.
I'm just gonna grow my, beard out and be gross. Like, so I mean that hit, and then yeah, I mean, I lost two grandparents in the couple years right after COVID. Um and so, oh my God, I can't listen to Laura and the Beehive without crying. Like, I have yet to make
Yeah.
it all the way through that song without getting emotional and tearing up. And just that
Yeah.
idea of, like writing songs for your friends while they're still here to sing them with you. Like, yeah, just the themes are incredible and so mature. And yeah, I gotta stop, because I'll go all night talking to you about this. But yeah,
All
the
right.
album's
So
incredible, and if they hadn't already written a perfect album, it would definitely be their
it's
best
there.
album.
So we've talked about the first, we've talked about the last. Jeff, what is their best album in your opinion?
Hey, I'm Greatest Generation all the way. I know. Yeah, I see it. Uh, yeah, it was, and I'm harping on some of the same things, but it when it came out, I was at a time in my life where I was um listless. I was not sure
Yeah.
where things were going. I, was at a stage in my life where a lot of the friends that I had that were my age had already moved on to a new stage of life that I hadn't, right? They had gotten married, some of them were having kids. I was still a single guy, you know, um, relationships that I thought were going to, that I was going to be able to take the next step in that relationship didn't pan out for a variety of reasons. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, just feeling like I don't know, like I don't feel like I'm where I should be. I don't know if I like where I am. I don't know if, all these things. And then I saw, oh, the Wonder Years has a new album. Like, I should check that out, right? Like the other two were pretty good. This one will probably be pretty good. And then it just like blindsiding you like a bomb going off of like
Oh, 100%.
an emotional detonation listening to that album. And I don't think to that point an album had affected me that emotionally like in I mean years.
Yeah.
So yeah, and in the same way that Hum speaks to where I was at a couple years ago. Greatest Generation spoke deeply to where I was at in, when that come out 2011,
Yeah.
2013, wherever, right?
2013, I think.
13, yeah.
So,
And yeah, it just hit me right where I was and gave language to all those things that I was feeling that some of which I might have been able to voice and some of it I might not have been able to. And then here come these songs that are just like singing them right into my ear holes, the things that I'm feeling. And
yeah.
yeah, for me that's their best. For me that is maybe, oh man, I don't want to get any hate mail or anything. It might be the best pop punk album ever. um I remember, I don't remember which publication it was, but I remember one of the reviews when that album came out just said that, I don't think, with respect to all the other great bands out there, I don't think there's another band in the scene that could have written this record. Like they're the only ones who
Yeah.
could have done it, and yeah, I'm so glad they did it. It's
Everyone is entitled to their own opinion. No hate mail is needed. Um, I just remember listening to the Upsides, listening to Suburbia, like putting I Came Out Swinging on repeat
hmm
constantly and always, it feels like. And then The Greatest Generation came out. I started listening. I was like, is this the same band? This doesn't feel like the same band.
hmm
And at that time, like I was like really heavy into prototypical pop punk at that point. I was just like, you know what, this is kind of different. I'm not sure I didn't give it its fair shake, which I am disappointed in myself for saying that. Um, but as I've gotten older, I've gone back and listened to it. And I started at the beginning and I just let it roll and I let it listen. And I can never just like skip around. I have to start at the beginning. I have to let it play all the way through
Yeah.
because it wasn't until like I really started to appreciate music for what it is that I really understood just how perfect and beautiful this album is.
Mm.
Because like I said earlier, this is where they began the concept of we're putting together all these songs. We're building it. It's not necessarily a story or a concept album, but they're building it. They're building it. They're building it till you get to I just want to sell out my funeral.
Yeah. Jeez.
And there are so many themes that they touch back on and they do callbacks to different lyrics and different themes and music and it just all blends together perfectly into this grand finale of a track.
hmm
And dude, the Greatest Generation, there's only one thing about the Greatest Generation that kind of disappoints me. And that is if you look at the cover and if you actually flip through the booklets and you look at it, like it's all pictures of people from like the 1940s, 1930s, around that time, the quote unquote greatest generation.
hmm
And I was like, oh, is this like their family members? Is this people that they're related to, like sharing a part of them, a personal story? No, it's not. It's not. If you look at the inside, they apparently found these pictures at random thrift stores and antique stores throughout the Northeast. So I'm just like, damn it. I was really kind of hoping for a little bit more of a personal connection there, but at the same time, I it's still such an awesome idea and a really cool concept. And I
Yeah, yeah.
this was really what made me fall in love with the Wonder Years.
Mm,
And I'm so excited to see them at Warped Tour. I can't wait. So I'm glad
yeah.
they got announced for that.
Yeah, we were I was super lucky. We got to when they announced that they were doing the Greatest Generation, anniversary shows. So the way that it played out was they were kind of teasing that they were going to be making an announcement because the 20th anniversary was coming up. Um, and then they made this big announcement, and instead of announcing like I think what most people expected an anniversary tour like they had done for Upsides and Suburbia,
Yeah,
um, they which again we got to see them on that tour in Richmond, and it was amazing. It was so good. Um, and then they started teasing about Greatest Generation and this announcement. And then they made the announcement, and they didn't announce an anniversary tour. They announced a festival. In Philly, they were doing the loneliest festival on earth. Is that what they called it? Um, where they were going to be doing Greatest Generation, playing the album
yeah,
in its entirety. And I was like, oh man. So I went to my wife and I was like, hey, like, how much I love the Wonder Years, and how much I love this album in particular. Like, you wanna take a trip to Philly, and because my wife is amazing, she was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, let's go. And so we booked like right away. We bought the tickets.
yeah.
We booked a B&B. We're like, we're gonna go up to Philly for this festival. I'm gonna get to see what might be my favorite album of all time played live in like a hometown show. Um, and then like a week after we had booked our tickets, they were like, "Oh, hey, announcing we're also doing a tour," and they were coming to like Norfolk, I think it was Richmond. I think it was Richmond. It's like 2 hours
Yeah,
away. So I'm so glad that it panned out the way that it did, because if they had announced the tour, we probably would have said, "All right, let's just go see them in Richmond." And instead, we booked and we went up to see them in Philly, and so we got to see this album played in Philly with a
that's
hometown
awesome.
crowd. Got to, and just standing amid thousands of Wonder Years fans, screaming, sell out my funeral at the top of our lungs.
Oh
Like, it
yeah,
was fantastic. And hearing, Dan in between, share stories and, of writing this album, or, things that, that you would connect with a hometown crowd who's been with you every step of the way, and to be able to be there in that crowd and hear it, it was incredible.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, it was an awesome experience that I would have missed out
Philly's a hell of
on.
a city, dude.
No, yeah, it's yeah. I've been up there maybe half a dozen times, and it's always a great experience.
I've only been there
Um,
once, but I'm from New York, so Philadelphia's always, oh, Philly sucks. No, it doesn't. Philly is great.
yeah.
Everyone I've met in Philly's been like super nice. I loved
Uh-huh.
it. So, all right. So we've done the first, we've done the last, we've done the best. We end this show talking about our top three favorite songs. Generally, we start at three. We each say three. We each say two. We each say one. So I'd like to continue that. Jeff, what is number three for you?
Okay, give me 1 second. Oh, because I didn't know
It's
you had
hard.
mentioned. Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
had
forgot to
mentioned we
tell
were
you
gonna be
this
doing.
earlier
No, no,
than
you
today.
mentioned we were gonna be doing 3 songs, but I didn't know what the exact like framework was it for. So this is gonna be off the dome, but that's okay. Because I know my number one. I got my number one. So now I just got to decide what else do I want to go with. Okay, so ask me next week. These might be different, but I think I'm good
For right
for
now,
for right now. They're gonna be. I'll put that at number two. So I'll start with number three. Is gonna be "Don't Let Me Cave In." Um,
good
I
song.
think that was the first song and which is off Suburbia for anyone who maybe isn't as big of a fan. I think that was the first time that I was like, oh, these guys are something else. Like,
Yeah.
again, it was pre Greatest Generation, so I hadn't like completely like sold my soul to them yet. Um, but it was like that song, and I was like, oh, these guys have it. Like there's something to this combination of catchy hooks, um, great melodies, vulnerable songwriting. Like I think that song was when I realized like they have the whole package.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I don't know what it is about that song specifically, because came out swinging is usually everybody's favorite from Suburbia, and I love that song. But yeah, I think I'll put Don't Let Me Cave In as number three, just because for something about that song clicked with me, and I was like, yeah, these guys they have it, whatever it is, like that transcends, okay, this is a fun pop punk band that I like to listen to, right? So
Yeah. My number three also comes from Suburbia and is the song you just mentioned, Came Out Swinging. Because
nice.
I when that song came out, when the single came out, I forgot how like, I would just like listen to it on repeat over and over and over and over again. And there's just something about that song that's like, okay, they're starting to grow up a little bit, but they still got that really good pop punk sound. It was fantastic. I love that song. It's still probably my favorite song off of Suburbia. So number three for me is Came Out Swinging.
Nice. Totally unplanned. That was great. So is it my turn, number two now? Okay. My number two is off Greatest Generation, and it's Dismantling Summer. Again, just an amazing song. The way that it musically is so good. Like you could write an entirely different song to that instrumental track, and it's going to be an amazing song, because that song is like musically it's so good. The melody is so good. That chorus is, oh God, it's like it hits everywhere. And then
Oh
you
yeah.
throw in the lyrical content, like what the song's about, and the imagery that's used, the poetic language, of like seeing the thunder, and oh my
Yeah.
gosh, like it's just, yeah. So Dismantling Summer is right up there with my. It's not my number one today. Ask me another day, it may change. But right now it sits solidly at number two. It's one I hope we cover one day. The only Wonder Year song we've covered is Passing Through a Screen Door. Have you
Nice.
seen our cover of that? We have.
No, I have not. It's been a
Yeah,
while
it's
since I've
on
seen you guys
YouTube.
play live.
Well, no,
Is
we put it
it?
on YouTube. So
Oh, okay. We'll
real
have to
quick
find.
rabbit. No, real quick rabbit trail. Um, there's this guy named Rob, and he lives sort of not quite Richmond, like outside of Richmond.
Yeah.
Um, and he throws a birthday party every year in October. He calls it Robtoberfest. Shout out Rob, in case you happen to listen to this. I'll probably send you this
Nice.
this podcast just to make sure you hear it. And the dude is great, and he every year asks us to come play Robtoberfest. And more years than not, we've not been able to make it, unfortunately. But when
Yeah.
we are able to make it, we go and we have a great time. And we always throw whatever year he's turning, whatever age he's turning, we throw a cover into our set that like ties into whatever age he's turning, right?
Nice.
And so like, what's my age again for 23? I think we did Taylor Swift for no, or do we do we did Taylor Swift for 22.
Nice.
Um I think we did Switchfoot for 24. I don't know. My memory is garbage these days. But um, the year he turned 26, he asked us to play. We really wanted to play. We couldn't play. And at that point, I think we had missed like a couple years, and we were starting to feel like, dang, this sucks. Like we love this
Yeah.
guy, and we're not able to play. So instead, we covered Passing Through a Screen Door, because it talks about, Jesus Christ, I'm 26. And
Yeah.
so we covered that basically for him. And then we filmed a little live play and put it on
Yeah.
YouTube. So yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
if
I'll have
you
to go
like,
find it.
I would say, yeah, if you like Wonder Years and you like Sam's the Hero, definitely check out our cover on. It's only on
Cool.
YouTube. It's nowhere else right now. But
I got you. My number two. So I had this Came Out Swinging at number two originally,
hmm
but the more I thought about it, the more I had to switch it because the song is just lives rent free in my head, and it's goddamn it all.
nice.
I love this song. I love the bridge most of all because it's so simplistic,
Uh huh.
and it's just something about it. I'm just like, God damn it! and just this song speaks to my soul. It really does. So I switched it up to number two because there's only one song that could be number one to me. But this Came Out Swinging, goddamn it all, can be very interchangeable. Honestly, it's a very real possibility that these two could be knocked out by other songs as well. But when I started writing this list, these two songs were the ones that really kind of stuck out to me.
Well,
So
and that's
Jeff,
cool. Yeah, that's cool because it was a single, right? Like it was just a single, and then they played it when we saw them. Like and so the odds of
yeah,
them playing that, a non-album, single, that's really cool that you got to that they played that when we
I
went to see them.
got to see that live. That was amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff, what's your number one?
Okay, so now I'm super curious what your number one is. Just because but my number one, and it's not on my favorite album. It's not on Greatest Generation. My number one is from No Closer to Heaven, and it's
Such a good
Cardinals.
album.
Yeah, Cardinals is my all-time favorite Wonder Years song. It's it's incredible. My wife and I have tattoo appointments on like a week from now, uh,
Nice.
and we're not I'm not getting my Cardinals tattoo, but it's next in the list. So like I will be getting a Cardinals tattoo, and it's the next one up after this weekend. But yeah, Cardinals is incredible. Everything from the fun little guitar hook, which as soon as I heard it, I just had to pick up and
Yeah.
like learn it and play it because it's so fun. Um, the the incredibly like an open nerve subject matter of singing about the loss of a friend, and thinking back to what you could have done and
Oh yeah.
how you fell short, and maybe things would have turned out different if you were a better person, and like wrestling with guilt around that,
Oh
um
yeah.
and yeah, so yeah, just like an open wound of subject material put together with this incredible musical song, and this we're no saviors if we can't save our brothers chant at the end, like just oh my gosh, like it's so, yeah, it's definitely, and there's so many that could have taken its spot, but I don't think two and three I could shuffle around. I could definitely throw other songs up there depending on how I'm feeling, but I think Cardinals will always be my number one. And then like to have the legacy, because there's a Cardinals Part Two on Hum Goes
Yeah.
On, right? So like it extends, creates a sequel, calls back some of those themes lyrically and musically into the new album. And so yeah, for me, Cardinals is my number one Wonder Years song.
Honestly, I'm a little disappointed we didn't discuss that album a little bit further, because that is a very,
Oh yeah.
very good album.
Yeah, my
And
my my short answer for that and why it didn't make, best album, I think No Close, for me, it has some really good like really great highs. Again, my favorite song by them is on that album. Cigarettes and Saints, another incredible song, right?
yep,
Like it's but it also has more dips for me too. It's, it doesn't have the consistency of like Hum and Greatest
agreed.
Generation. But yeah, some incredible bangers on that album for sure.
I Don't Like Who I Was Then. That is such
Yes.
a great song. That could
Ah,
easily knock out either Came Out Swinging or Goddamn
oh
It All for
yeah.
me.
Oh yeah.
So I've already mentioned my favorite song, and I've mentioned that it is a perfect song because of what it signified to me as far as this band is concerned. And my favorite song by the Wonder Years, I Just Want to Sell Out My Funeral.
Yeah. Yeah.
That song just, when I first listened to it, I got out of my chair.
Hmm.
I could not sit still because it just, the amount of thought and dedication it took to piece that song together, taking puzzle pieces from throughout the album and creating like this beautiful work.
Hmm.
I They have done it since then, obviously with their next couple albums and how they were able to kind of redo that a little bit.
Hmm.
But this was the first and honestly their best
Hmm.
that they were able to do something like that. And holy shit. I just want to sell at my funeral. I'm really disappointed because, well, I'm not disappointed. Well, yeah, I'm a little disappointed. Uh, when we saw them, because the Menzingers and the Wonder Years have been switching back and forth and who was closing out the shows.
Yeah.
And if the Wonder Years closed out when they came out to do the encore, they did I Just Want to Sell Out My Funeral.
Yeah.
And I was so disappointed I did not get to hear that. But
Yeah.
regardless, maybe one day,
Mhm.
who knows? We'll see what happens. But that's easily the best song I've ever heard from
Yeah.
them. It is
Yeah.
so good.
It is. It's incredible. And they're not the only band to throw a medley of like the album on there. Arm's Length recently did something. Are you listening to Arm's Length? You should check out
I
Arm's
don't think
Length.
I have. I'll
Oh, buddy,
There
I'm
we
gonna
go.
send you a link
This
because
is why I do this show. This is why I
yeah.
love this show. I don't care if anyone else listens to this. I just this gets me into new music and I love
Oh
that.
man, Arm's Length had an album that came out at this point maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Again, my memory's garbage, so but it's incredible. I'll send you a link to the one. But and they did
Nice.
something similar. Other bands have done it. Like the Wonder Years is not the first to do it, but
Oh no.
the way they did it, and I think it's also served by the fact that the rest of that album is so damn good, right? Like so when you have
Oh
all these
yeah.
incredible songs and all these incredible themes and lines, and then weaving them together not just musically but also content wise, like
Oh
so
yeah.
that it's not just oh, remember this song, like no, it's like no, this is saying something, like the way that it weaves in all
Oh
these
yeah.
themes make a cohesive narrative and a cohesive experience. Yeah, the song, yes, it's perfect, it's perfect, and
It's
it's great, and it's wonderful.
fantastic. So
um
that is first, last, and best covering the Wonder Years. Uh, Thank you for the whoever's listening to this. I don't probably all like two or three of you, but regardless, there's a reason I wanted to do this show again. It's because I love these conversations between me and my friends where we get to just talk about these bands that we fell in love with. So, Jeff, thank you for coming on. I know there were two other bands that you had mentioned you wanted to do as well. I'm bringing you back at some point to do this because it was Five Iron Frenzy, I think, and Bad Religion.
Yeah, I mean that
I
both
think.
those kind of constitute a top three for me in terms of like formation over the years.
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
I
no,
definitely want to touch on
I'd love to
those.
come back. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. All right, so that's it for this week. Our next episode, I am going to try and do this every 2 weeks because it does take some time to listen to all of the music needed to actually get this together. So I'm hoping that in 2 weeks' time, when I come back, I will be doing an episode with my wife, who has a very specific band that she wants to talk about. So until then, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Jeff, for coming back on. Thank you to Call Me Malcolm from the UK ska band, for letting me use their music at the beginning and end of the show. Um, so yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.